Ladies and gentlemen,
everybody wants the prize, but nobody wants to pay the price.
Can they be pushed? Do they have a sense of urgency? Do they want to be great?
And then, of course, you look at them and be like, yeah, right.
Everybody wants to be on your team when you're on top.
I saw the angel and the marble, and I carved until I set him free.
Go be somebody, bro.
But the most important part of the Be Somebody journey is the resilience.
Welcome to the Be Somebody Podcast, your real and raw destination for all things entrepreneurship, leadership, and culture, with your host, Kash Shaikh, and our CEO and founder of Be Somebody Inc. and BSB Group International, Kash Shaikh. Welcome to episode 6 of the Be Somebody Podcast. Special shout out to all of our listeners and subscribers. I'm your co-host, Kash Shaikh, with our founder and CEO of Be Somebody Inc. and BSB Group International, Kash Shaikh. What's going on, Kash?
What's going on, man?
You still got the hat on.
Man, my haircut is still bad. I mean, it's been a few days. I don't know how long it's been. A week, a few days. It's not looking good, man. I've been wearing hats. I've been wearing Kangals. I've been wearing, beanies, anything to cover it up.
So all the barbers, we're calling you out. We need someone here to take care of Kash's
We are
hair.
going to get a barber on the show. I want my Boston barber Davey on the show. All right, Herbie, I want Davey on the show.
We'll get him scheduled. Really here.
Yeah.
Actually here.
Yeah. No, man, but how are you, man?
I'm doing good, man, Kash. Thanks for asking, bro. But I'm looking at your hat and I see, the sports emblem.
Oh, yeah, the Texans, man. The Texans. I always represent. I represent H-Town every time
always.
I can.
Yeah, we know that. Cincinnati, we missed opening day. But, with sports, it was interesting because the other day I was flipping through my TV guide, the little screen, and I was seeing reruns of sports championships coming on. And I was telling my wife, Priya, shout out to Priya, I was like, it is so weird to see an actual sports match game coming on because it's been a while since we've actually had something live. Right. And then you hear about the Olympics being postponed and all this. I mean, it's like, when we'll be able to get back into it?
I mean, I don't watch a ton of TV, and all I ever watch is sports, man. Yep. I mean, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, I'm always watching. It's like the one escape.
Or cricket.
Cricket every once in a while, yeah. Every once in a while, it's that one escape, and that's why I think this pandemic, this crisis, is so different than anything we've ever experienced before. Because if you think about it, sports was always the release. Right. I mean, if you think about some big, heavy things, 9/11. Remember the first pitch after 9/11?
It's the first thing that came to my mind. George Bush walking out to the mound to throw it, everyone cheering on their feet.
And the Yankees were in the World Series that year, right? Yep. So that was a healing opportunity for the country. You mentioned that the Olympics have always been the one thing that brought the world together. That got canceled. Sports was always that thing that you could count on, that no matter what was happening in the world, sports was what brought us together. Yep. And without having that, and I mean, honestly, when the NBA season was canceled, I think we talked about this on one of the earlier episodes. I mean, I remember Josh, I think we were at your 1-year anniversary, right? We were at Josh, your 1-year anniversary. The NBA season was canceled, and we were like, holy shit, this just got real.
Yeah, very real.
And then all the other sporting events got canceled, and like you said, one by one, and it's been surreal. I feel like we're all missing that escape that sports has given us, and I always believe that sports is a metaphor for life, because sports is all about the details, is about the inches, the seconds between winning and losing. And between greatness and forgottenness, even though that ain't a word, but we just literally on our phones saw come across the wire, the messages that the next UFC bout fights are all canceled. So, man, I'm so excited, Kash, for this next guest, because, I mean, we've been together in the trenches for so long. I mean, I remember when I first met Henry Cejudo back in 2011.
Wow.
And we were in an empty stadium shooting a video for his next Olympic appearance. and we just connected, man. We just connected. I was so inspired by his passion, his intellect.
Right.
And he, 2008, he was the youngest American to ever win a gold medal in wrestling.
Yeah.
And this was 2011, and he was getting ready to defend his gold medal. And I was working on the Tide brand at the time.
Right.
And I was like, and we were doing an Olympic campaign. I'm like, well, who could be the face? Who could be the face? Who could be the person to represent us? And it was going to be Henry Cejudo. And we hit it off. We told his story about where he came from, his humble beginnings, how he sacrificed his high school life. He sacrificed his friendships to go to the Colorado Olympic Training Center to be the best in the world. And we talked about all of that. And then in 2012, he didn't make the Olympic team. He didn't make the Olympic team, and that was such a shock and surprise to everybody. I know it was to him, but it became almost the foreshadowing for the next 8 years, because I think for both Henry and for myself even, it taught us about that if you want to be great, there's going to be a lot more downs than there are ups. You're going to lose a lot more than you win on that journey to greatness. And to see where he is today, and I started Besomebody back in 2013 as an official company, and we went around together and all that. We'll talk it with him, but to see where he is today, knowing where he started, man, and what he told me back in 2013 that he was going to be a UFC champion. And knowing, and typical Henry, not only did he do it, he did it like twice. He did it multiple times. Because there's so much I could tell you. Yep. But I don't want to even start talking about it until Henry's on the phone, because I want to hear what he says. Yep. I want him to verify what comes out of my mouth. The sermon today. We're ready right now. Let's go.
No holding back.
It's a UFC night tonight.
All right.
They canceled it, but I'm ready because I'm sorry. I'm ready now.
It's a UFC fight environment right here, now.
They might have canceled the UFC, but they didn't cancel the fight.
There we go.
You know what I mean? We went WWE, we went boxing, and now we're at UFC. So let me hear it. Better go hard.
Gotta be UFC,
Bruce
right?
Buffer.
Let's welcome to the Besomebody Podcast the author of American Victory and Wrestling for Dummies, the 2008 Olympic gold medalist, and the current UFC flyweight and bantamweight champion, also known as Triple C. Please welcome Henry Cejudo. Nap, we got him on the line.
Wow, I am live. Wow, I'm speechless.
Henry, man.
That was such the introduction.
Henry, go punch somebody, man. After that intro, just go start kicking and punching somebody right now, bro.
What up, Cashy Cat?
Oh, man.
You gave me the chills.
There we go.
Bro, Henry, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, your busy training schedule. I know you've been doing 2-a-days in preparation for your fight, which we just talked about at the top of the show. We all just learned that the UFC fight that you're about to fight in has been canceled or postponed. So we'll talk about that, man. But thank you so much for taking your time. Triple C, thankful to have you on the show, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm honored, Cash, and I think that's how life works, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been friends ever since. And look at how our lives have kind of parallel. Right. I saw you in the trenches. When Cash is talking about the trenches, people, he's talking about sleeping on an air mattress. He's talking about living that not so good life. But he was a man. He's a very passionate man with a vision. So I guess it's almost like what the saying, real recognizes real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when something's real, it's real. And that's kind of how the reason why we've been able to keep in contact and be in this friendship for so long. It's because it's almost like when you find somebody that you bond with, almost like you guys feed off each other.
Yep. Well, man, I mean,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, man. And I know when I started the Be Somebody journey in 2013, we started just with a simple, vision, simple idea, just to help people, inspire people to do what they love, follow their passion, to be great. And I told you about it, and I rented a 42-foot long tour bus RV. It looked better on the outside than the inside. It was actually kind of like a rundown RV on the inside, but we wrapped it with a black Be Somebody wrap. And we went to colleges and high schools all around the country, 15,000 miles, trying to inspire people. Yeah. And I remember coming from California down towards Arizona. I called you, Henry. I was like, yo, man, we're about to come to Arizona. I'd love for you to be a part of what we're doing because you're such an inspirational person. Your life has been really the epitome of struggle, resilience, and success. I was like, can you help? And not only did you help, you're like, yeah, man, I'm getting on the bus. You're like, get me on the bus. And then we started speaking at like high schools all around Arizona. Henry started calling people. We were in Tucson. We were in Phoenix.
Awesome.
You know what I mean, Henry? Those were the days, bro.
Yeah, it was, man. It was a fun time, man. And look at you now, Cash. And look at you now.
Well,
and also, it's crazy how like your life, like I said, like it's like it parallels, man. Like how much our lives have paralleled so much. Tell them the story of the Shark Tank, Cash.
Well, the thing is, all right. I mean, God, you
got
here's
tell them that, and tell them how it paralleled with how my fight with Demetrious Johnson and Mark Cuban kind of paralleled.
All right, I'm gonna tell you the story, but Henry, jump in, man, because jump in and correct me or enhance me as needed. But so, okay, look, 2013, we went around, we spoke at all these schools, and we built the movement. And by the end of 2013, the Be Somebody community had about 10 million followers around the world. And then 2014, we talked about this in episode 1. We built a company, we launched an app. 2015, Entrepreneurial Magazine, or 2016, Entrepreneurial Magazine said we were going to be the biggest app ever. That person hopefully is fired because they were wrong, but we were trying to grow. And at that time, Henry was also, during those 3 years as we were growing, Henry decided to, move away from his wrestling career. After 2012, Henry, you could talk about it. You didn't make the Olympics, and then you said, I want to be a UFC. And we started going around in 2013, and I said, I want to interview people. I called them passion portraits, people that were trying to be great. And Henry was one of the first people that I interviewed. I went to his house in Phoenix, and I interviewed him. And he was like, I'm going to be UFC champion. And he's like, I can see it. I can visualize, what it's going to look like when I'm handed that belt. Now, the only thing, Henry, you said when you get the belt, you're going to hand it back. You're going to say, I don't need those for a bigger purpose, but you kept the belt, and you've been sleeping with the belt right now. So that's the one thing you evolved. But Henry told me in 2013 he was going to be UFC champion. And then as we were growing, Henry, I was telling the guys earlier, you were pretty much in like the minor leagues of UFC, like Legacy, remember? And you were wearing your Be Somebody shirt. And I would walk out with you. We'd have the Be Somebody banner. We'd be in the locker room before and after. And like people don't realize, man, that you fought multiple fights in Legacy and those kind of minor leagues before you even, as an Olympic champion, before you even got to the UFC, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to. It's almost like when you fight, like you have to be you have to be a killer, but you have to be a calculated killer. And, it's like, could we have gone to the UFC, sooner rather than that? It's like, yeah, but you gotta take your tuna fights, your tomato cans. That sometimes weren't so much tomato cans. You find yourself in fights where you're just like, Jesus, man, you're at that fight in Dallas when we got kicked in the head.
Right, I remember, yeah.
I mean, all these little things like that can put you on the UFC. So a lot of these like minor events coming up, in preparation for UFC Gold, was being going to these other organizations prior to jumping into the big leagues, because it's like the UFC. There's a bunch of great white sharks, man. You you can't just be a regular shark and not expect the great white shark to eat you.
Right. Right.
So there's a process to everything. So, you know, it was a fun time, man, coming up and watching like a fighter grow from not knowing how to throw a jab correctly to, you know, to UFC stardom.
Yeah, because I mean, you were a wrestler, but you had to learn how to strike. You had to learn to do a lot of different things in that cage. And I remember sentimental memories for me, walking up to the cage with you, us rocking our Be Somebody shirts. And I even remember that one time, I think it was in Houston, man, when you didn't make weight.
2.5 hours late for the weigh-in yesterday. He was fined $1,000 for that. Then he lost 50% of his purse because he came in 2.5 pounds overweight. A lot of people calling the Olympic gold medalist Henry Cejudo a prima donna. You've got to wonder what's going through Cejudo's mind and just how serious Paddy's taking the mixed martial arts game.
And like the crowd was chanting, "You didn't make weight. You didn't make weight." And you still had to get in there and like clear your head and go kick some ass, right?
Yeah, I was embarrassed, by the way, more than anything. You know, they're trying to get to me, but man, did I put a beating on that kid?
Hey, you kicked his ass, man. You did what you needed to do. But so fast forward. I mean, I respect you, man. I respect, Henry, what you did, because like you said, you didn't, as an Olympic gold medalist, could you have wrote your own ticket to the UFC? Yes. But you said, look, I want to go through the minor leagues. I want to go through the struggle. I want to get better so that I'm ready for the show. And you did that, and I witnessed it. And then fast forward 3 years to 2016. It was not only for me and Be Somebody, that was the lowest point. You know, we were running out of money. It was costing us a lot of money to grow, and we didn't really want to raise money. And we were struggling. And I believe, Henry, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was April 2016, you had your first title shot. So you were undefeated in UFC, and you had your first title shot against Demetrious Johnson, who at that time was the pound for pound, you know, best fighter in UFC, and still debated as one of the best fighters in UFC history. And it was at the MGM, and I was like, now I texted you for some free tickets, man. You didn't respond. By the way, my ass was broke too, and you didn't respond. But I was like, F it, I'm still gonna go. So I took myself, my brother, Alex Dorner, Matt Bennett. We got in the car. We flew to Vegas, and then we flew to LA because it was cheaper. We drove to Vegas to see you at the MGM, and when I saw you, bro, on like the side, like on the sides of the casinos and all over the taxi cabs, I was like, man, I can't believe this is happening. We went there. We had the nosebleed seats, bro. We were at the top of that MGM arena, and after about a minute and 20 seconds into that fight, you got knocked out. And DJ won, right? Yeah. It's something. It's like our journeys, man. Like when you truly reach success, man, you have to freaking really fall in order to reach success, dude. That's exactly what that fight was. You know, as an Olympic champion, I was undefeated going into the UFC, fighting for the title, fighting the pound for pound great. I'm a very confident human being, man. But what Demetrious Johnson was able to do to me in 2 minutes and 36 seconds of round. All right, 2 minutes 30 seconds. I said 120. It seemed faster, man. I mean, it must have been the price I paid for those nosebleed tickets. Right. Oh, man, I ate some humble pie, man, for like maybe the first time of my adulthood. Right. Like real humble pie, man. It's like you're not as good as you thought you were. You know what I'm saying? So that allowed me to kind of get out of my comfort zone and change and, you know, chase me out like on a quest rather than just fighting for a world title, like being out on a quest to win a world title.
like at that type of like level of mindset, level of action that I was doing. So then I had to wait pretty much 2.5 years to avenge this loss, and I finally got the opportunity. And this was so I fought him. I want to say it was April, or about April 4th of 2000. I think 16 the first time.
Yep.
And on August 4th of 2018, I was finally able to avenge my loss against the pound for pound great Demetrious Mighty Mouse Johnson.
And you know what the crazy thing? So a lot of people don't know, man. So that happened. You lost. And I was hurt, bro, because I was hurting for you because I know how hard you've been working. Everyone that was sitting on the sidelines, I always say everybody wants to be on your team when you're on top. Yeah. But the haters, the cockroaches, the rats, they all come out when you're on the bottom. So they were all coming out. And that was April in 2016. In November of 2016, I hit my lowest point because I was on Shark Tank and we didn't, watch episode 2. We didn't get a deal. It didn't work out as well for us. We pretty much were at the very bottom of the journey for us, and where we had to rethink life, pivot the business, and do a lot of different things. And I remember talking to you, and you were like, bro, look, we're in this together. I believe in you. Keep going. And I was watching you work, and that inspired me to keep working. And I hope me working helped inspire you. And then when you fast forward to that day in 2018, man, it's so crazy, Henry. But I was actually in LA the same night as your fight, and I was there, for my boy Sean's wedding.
Episode 3.
Yep, episode 3. So I was there for my boy Sean's wedding, and as I get there, he's like, "Yo, man, I think Mark Cuban's here at the hotel." And I was like, "Really? What the hell?" Because obviously Mark Cuban was on Shark Tank, right? And he told me to go be somebody, bro. And I'm like, "Nah, man, that's crazy. Whatever." The most important part about this, Henry, is that's the same night that I got the first multi-million-dollar check for Be Somebody. We've been grinding. We hadn't been making any money, man. We've been trying to do it. And I remember I texted you that too. I took a picture of that check and I texted you. I texted 2 people, you and my mom, dude. And I texted and I sent that picture. I said, man, and I don't remember everything I said, but I said, bro, look where we started. Look what we're doing. Keep going. This is what that means. It was $2 million. And remember, on Shark Tank, I asked for $1 million and they didn't give me anything. The early reception ended. I look to the right. I see Mark Cuban. And instinctively, I just like beeline straight to Mark Cuban. Mark, man, what the hell, bro? And we started talking, and I started like giving him shit about
right,
treating me like a little punk on Shark Tank. But he was like, he was like, oh, Cash, it's just TV, it's reality TV, bro. But I told him, I appreciate it because it gave me the resilience and the resolve to keep going. And that happened, Henry. The dinner served at the wedding. The speeches started to happen. I was watching my ESPN app, and then I see Henry's about to fight. And I go to the very corner, and I paid the $7 for the UFC whatever fight, premium UFC fight night. And I watch every round, bro. And honestly, man, I'm not just saying this, Henry. 5 rounds, you and Demetrious Johnson. And when I was watching the decision come in, and I heard the first judge, the second judge, the third judge, and when they said, and new, I'm telling you, the tears started rolling so strong and so fast down my face, bro, because I couldn't believe. I was so happy for you, and I also couldn't believe that the 2 of us with these connected stories, it happened on the same night. Wow. that I got that $2 million check and I met Mark Cuban and I texted you, hey, bro, and before your fight, and then you went out and won it, bro.
Yeah, I remember that too, Cash. I remember it vividly. He sent me a picture too. It's on her phone, dude. It's a classic story. Well, it's reality. I'm sorry, it's a beautiful reality. But yeah, I remember. I was like, listen, man, it was an encouragement, dude. It was an encouragement getting that message from you. And especially when it's fight time, I don't really look at my phone either that much once I'm getting ready to fight, because you get a lot of people like sending you a lot of messages and a lot of phone calls and whatnot. So but I was able to just, I was able to answer yours, Cash. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like everything that I've ever thought about in my life that I wanted to do, I did. And becoming an Olympic champion and a UFC champion has only, I have recognized that my mind is a gift, man. Like my mind it's an intellectual power, man. That could take my body to different places, man. And whether I'm withstanding a storm of somebody trying to beat me up for 5 rounds, or almost getting stopped in the first round, to completely coming out and turning the tides on a fight and coming back and winning, from being the underdog at the Olympics to being ranked 31st in the world to becoming an Olympic champion on the same night. Things like the things that I accomplish, I recognize through my mind that it's a special gift, man. And not everybody's fortunate enough to have it. So it's almost like it?
But what is it? What is that mentality that's needed or necessary, to get to that level?
I will always say it's 2 things. It's your heart. I call it heart and ability. What is your heart? Your heart is your passion, your will, your desire. Your heart is the goodness of your mind. So that's your heart, your passion. 2 is ability. Your ability is something that genetically you become a bionic freak, or you're just a simple guy, or you have a lot of potential. You can eventually become something good, but it's going to take time for that ability, or you just naturally have it. And because of your natural ability, you're able to do other things. So it's much more than hard work. It's a DNA. And when you're able to have these 2 things, and they're able to match, like head to head, like see each other, like literally eye to eye, that's when you become the 1% of the 1%ers. So it's also it's good to question yourself too. Like you cannot be 100% confident or 100% sure on anything, because that just means you're not being challenged. So it's okay to question certain things that you're doing, and certain things that you're doing right, and certain things that you're doing wrong, or whether you belong in that industry, because failure is a big indication on whether you belong there or not, whether you belong in that field or not.
Yeah, but also, but don't you think that failure is also one of the biggest teachers, right? Right. Because like if you didn't fail, like if you didn't lose to DJ in 2016, I don't know if you would have won in 2018.
Yeah, and you're right, Cash. I mean, you have that. You also have, but even though I lost to Demetrious Johnson, I knew that I was a born fighter. Is what I'm getting to. Right. I knew through nature and nurture that I was built to fight. Like I wasn't built to be a basketball player, right?
Right.
I'm 5'4", twisted.
5'4", bro. I hope not, man.
Spud Webb made it.
I'm 6'4", but my vertical is 3 inches, so I mean, it ain't helping me either. The height ain't helping me.
So I mean, that's what it is, right? But you're right, Cash. Like failure. It was one of the good Conor McGregor quotes that he said. It was really good. I either win or I learn, but I never lose.
Right.
It's losing does teach you a lot about yourself.
I still remember the face that you had and the scream that you let out when you won it. And to a lot of people that would have been the top of the top, but then you're like, let me go try to win another title. Let me go try to get another belt. And then somehow along the way, this like organism, this creature called Triple C was created, Triple C. And not only from like the merits of your work, of your hard work and the fights, but also in some ways, I mean, I'm interested, Henry, like honestly, business person to business person. I know you're a fighter, but also an entrepreneur. Right. Like, what has the whole Triple C journey been like? Not only from winning, but then how you've tried to position yourself, market yourself as you've been growing.
It's been good, man. Because obviously I'm taking the hill route. The Triple C, it's a character. It's a character that comes out. Obviously, it's based on my 3 credentials that I won. It's Olympic champ, flyweight champ, and bantamweight champion of the world. So it's like I'm the triple champ. So there's a lot of double champs, guys. But there's never been an Olympic champion that's ever won a UFC title. I've been the only one, and on top of that, I won a second belt. So it's like I broke my own record. So I turned that into a persona, kind of like the Kurt Angle of the WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But a lot of it, it is myself. I am saying it. I'm just amplifying it more. So I really do mean the things that I say. I'm just amplified and I become into character. So I'm like, I'm not lying about the things that I say.
Right.
So I've been able to just be something different. A good friend of mine, the Schmo, he says, if you're not first, be different.
Right.
And Conor McGregor took that route. Conor McGregor was the first one to really use a persona to make him to the UFC, and I can't be like Conor, man. So I got to be mean. I got to be different.
Do you feel like since you've been kind of going the Triple C route, from like a Henry Cejudo brand perspective, that it has elevated your opportunities or your exposure? Has it put you more out there by doing that?
It has. Man, Kash, the reason why I even started the Triple C persona is because it was my duty to save the flyweight division. As soon as I beat Demetrious Johnson, I had met with Dana White, and we're in a Ferrari, and so we watched some fights at the Ultimate Fighter arena, and then we went back to his office, and I rode with him. So I wanted to meet with him, and he's like, "Yeah, man, let's go to the office and meet." And then that's when he told me, he's like, "Listen, man." He's like, we're gonna get rid of the flyweight divisions. I just want to let you know that, man. Man to man, and I just want you to know that's just something that's gonna happen. And I just sat there and I just listened. It's like my heart kind of dropped, but I knew that it was coming. So, but by law, the UFC couldn't get rid of the flyweight division. Because as long as I'm champion, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure there would be I don't know the discrepancies of what the court of law says, but as long as I became champion, the whole flyweight division, which is 57 people, were going to be saved. And the only way to save the flyweight division was open my mouth and start talking, start amplifying the personality. So. Sure enough, after my fight with Demetrious Johnson, I called out TJ Dillashaw for the fight. And
I was in Brooklyn, man. I was in Brooklyn. I was right there. And I have to say, when I was in Brooklyn and you knocked out TJ Dillashaw, I was like 2 rows from the cage, bro. Because in 2016, I was at the very top. I mean, you couldn't even see me. I was a speck at the top. But, man, because our business was growing at the same time, and I was like 4 2 rows from the cage, and I saw that, man, in the first round. You knocked out TJ, man. That was awesome.
No, but what's the more important thing about that is I saved the whole flyweight division.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right.
So that's the whole moral of the Triple C. So I may not be liked, and I may be liked and hated, and I accept that. But man, I made a difference. I made a difference in a lot of people's lives.
I respect everything that you're doing for yourself and for all these people, those 57 folks and the fighters in the flyweight division, and as a business person. But I know, man, I know your heart, bro, and I know like who you are, and I know that you've always been trying to inspire people and help people.
I guess it's our duty, right? No, but I appreciate that, Cash. I really do, man. I think if anybody knows me truly, it's you, man. We talk about our emotions a lot. We talk, we know about each other's journeys a lot. But that's what bonds people. But that's what, I'm telling you, man, we need our movie, bro.
We need the movie, bro.
Yep.
But Henry, so last thing, I mean, obviously, you had a fight with Jose Aldo. I mean, you call him Jose Waldo. I mean, you call him everything. That literally this like a few hours ago got postponed. I know you've been in the throes of training, man. So like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I've been having a great camp too, man. So I was supposed to fight Jose Aldo May 9th, and that all got canceled due to coronavirus. See, he was having visa issues. So at that time, I was possibly going to fight somebody like Dominic Cruz or Frankie Edgar. Like those are the 2 names in line that I had to kind of pick from. And I don't know. I wasn't going to make my decision because I was looking for more money. Because they're going to change my opponent, or I was going to wait for Jose Baldo.
My man.
And chasing it.
And right before I was going to actually choose a fighter, they canceled the event completely.
So what does that do? How does that affect you and what your plans are moving forward?
Yeah, well now I'm just I don't know, man. I'm gonna be in legit quarantine now.
Oh man.
Because I was training for a fight. It's almost like when I train for a fight, I am in quarantine.
Right.
So I'm not sure, but I'm probably gonna do. Probably get a lot of my shit together here. My house, maybe I don't know if I could travel to Mexico or Brazil, but maybe spend some time down there to train, just kind of change up the scenery.
Right.
So
all I know, man, is like all of a sudden, like you've been putting all those couple pics on Instagram, man. All of a sudden, I'm like, my boy fell in love. I remember you text me like, man, Cash, I met this girl. She might be the one. And then like literally within 24 hours, every Instagram post or story has been you and your girl, bro. Come on, man. Come on. What? I mean,
bend the knee and kiss the ring.
Hey, as long as I'm invited to the wedding and I get like 6 minutes from my speech, bro, I'm good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a no.
It's a world pandemic that's going on, and we all have to abide from it. So I'm not angry. I just wish my girl was here.
Oh, we know. All right, man. Well, hey, Henry. I mean, thank you for taking the time to be on the show, bro. Yes. We could talk for 3 days, let alone a few hours, about everything we've been through, man. And I really respect you and love you, man, and appreciate everything that you've been through to get where you are. You deserve everything, man. You deserve everything that you're getting right now, and I know that there's more to come in the future. So thanks, man, for calling in, and congratulations on the success and the resilience that you've achieved over the years.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Cash. I appreciate the friendship. You know, we've been boys for a minute now, and I just want to congratulate you for everything that you do, man. Because you do a lot for people, and that's it, man. We're just, we are just nothing but motivational servants.
Thanks, Henry. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you soon, bro.
Okay. All right, Cash. You guys have a good one.
Yep.
All
Thanks,
right, bye-bye.
Henry. Best of luck.
Later.
Man, I love talking to my boy
awesome
Henry
to hear you
Cejudo,
guys
man.
speak, man.
I'm just grateful to Henry for helping us in the early days.
Yeah.
Never forget the people that believed in you when all you had was a dream.
So, Cash, for our listeners, man, what's the one big thing out of this?
Man, I mean, there's so many big things out of this conversation.
Yeah.
When you talk about Olympic gold medalists and a double UFC champion, Triple C.
Triple C, there we go.
But all I can tell you is we got knocked out. And we got knocked out so publicly, embarrassed. Didn't want to go out, didn't want to check my messages. He didn't want to check his messages, but saying, you know what, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the hit. I always say take the hit. I'm going to take the hit and keep going. And that is the story of Henry Cejudo. And honestly, that's the story of Be Somebody.
Thank you, Cash. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, everyone, for listening to episode 6 of the Be Somebody podcast. Don't forget to check us out at besomebody.com for all of our audio and video episodes. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all of our major podcast streaming apps. We out. Thank you.
You.